My name's Izzy. This is Rolling Virtual Cards coming at you with another Commander video for MTG. I called this one Commander specifically because it is the Commander set. We're going to go over the cards one by one here. There's not too many. We're just going to hit them and let you know what I think. A lot of these are going to be, the first 8 will be Commanders, and then we'll get to the new cards. So, Commanders. First, we got Gonti, Canny, Acquisitor. This is 2, a black, a green, and a white for a 5/5 legendary creature, Aetherborn Rogue. Spells you cast but don't own cost 1 less to cast. Whenever one or more creatures you control deal combat damage to a player, look at the top card of that player's library, then exile it face down. You may play that card for as long as it remains exiled, and mana of any type can be spent to cast this spell. Gonti does everything. I'm just going to be straight out about it. Gonti literally does absolutely everything. Okay? It's in great colors. You're running unblockable creatures that hit your opponent and go, oh look, I hit each opponent. That's 1 extra card that I can cast whenever I want. And you just keep doing that. They don't know what they're doing. The spells you're casting cost 1 less. You're stealing your opponent's stuff. I don't like these decks, personally. Stealing my opponent's cards, I used to enjoy it when I first played Commander because I thought, oh, this is cool. Every single game is going to be different because it really just depends on what my opponents are playing. When you play it, you kind of just hit this point of like, cool, I'm stopping my opponents from doing what they want to do. Like, you have a chance of hitting one of their cards that like really helps their engine. And I get it, like that's Magic. And if you play this card, I'm fine playing against it. I don't really complain. I'm gonna like moan about the fact that you're playing Gonti, like Gonti, okay, cool, and then I'll play. Because I like intermediate Magic where you just play whatever you want to play the game and shut up, nut up. But like, Gonti's just not nice, and I really don't like that Wizard. I mean, I kind of like that Wizard of the Coast is pushing this because it makes less people go, you're running a 5 deck. But it's also like, I get it. I personally just don't play these types of decks. But yeah, the entire point of Gonti is just to run a bunch of unblockable creatures, steal everyone's cards slowly, and just get that card advantage going. Very useful in many ways, and yeah, in the 99, I don't think it's great. The way it's worded, I believe you get to keep the cards. Yeah, even if you don't control Gonti. So you get to keep playing them as long as they stay exiled. So that's even better. Even if someone removes it, you still get those spells. So lots of good coming out of it. I totally understand the idea of it. And I do like that, like, nice little, like, each game's different. That's fun. I just don't like stealing people's stuff. I think it's unfun in that regard for a lot of casual stuff. So if you're going to like a casual place you haven't played against, or people saying they're playing casual, this is an intermediate deck because you're stealing stuff. So, but it is a good commander, and I don't really like it in 99. Well, except maybe if you're playing a commander that's all about hitting your opponent with multiple creatures like flyers and stuff, this is good in that deck. I'd toss that in there. Olivia, Opulent Outlaw, is 1 and a red, white, black for a 3/3 vampire assassin. I'm actually just super randomly curious if this is seeing. Nah, okay, cool. But Olivia is the Mardu commander, 3/3 vampire assassin with flying and lifelink. I already love that by itself. By itself, the flying lifelink is great. You hit people, you gain life. Accidental life gain is great in commander. When 1 or more outlaws you control deal combat damage to a player, create a treasure token. It's an assassin, so it's an outlaw, so you get a treasure token every time it hits someone. When 1 or more outlaws you control deal combat damage to a player, so you can get up to 3 treasure tokens each rotation. For 3, you can sacrifice 2 treasures and put 2 1/1 counters on each creature you control. So, again, most of these guys don't see. The only places these are legal is like the Legacy Vintage Commander. Those are the ones that matter. The rest are, yeah. But I love this card as a commander. If you're in Mardu, either Assassin, like any of the individual outlaw types, and you're running Mardu in that, or your commander is one of those, this card's great in that deck anyway. Getting treasures randomly. By itself, yeah, it's great, because you're going to hit people, get a treasure, gain some life. If you're in a treasure deck, this card's great to just toss in the treasure deck. So lots of different decks, this card's just good in the 99, and I love it as the commander. Again, just like Gonti, it does everything. You fill your deck with Outlaws, you hit people with your Outlaws, you make treasures, you sack the treasures. Yeah, so you need like 5 treasures. Then you can sack 3 of them for the cost and 2 of them for the ability. So, and then all your creatures get 2/1/1 counters, which is insane, including her. So she becomes a 5/5 and bigger and bigger, and like you can literally run this as just a treasure deck, not caring about the outlaw part, and just get her really big, which is funny. She does everything. I really like her though, and I love the art on both of these. They're both terrifying. Like Gonti is like definitely that like rogue that like, yeah, I'm stealing your shit, and Olivier is definitely like an entertainer. Stella Lee wild card, competitive card, yeah. 2/4 human rogue for 1 blue and a red. When you cast your second spell each turn, exile the top card of your library. Until the end of your next turn, you may play that card. So right there is card advantage. Oh, I'm gonna play 2 1-drops and then exile the top card. I can play the next one. Tap, copy target instant sorcery spell you control. You may choose new targets for the copy. Activate only if you've cast 3 or more spells this turn. Being able to copy an instant or sorcery is insane, okay? And so you might think, where is it seeing play? CDH. It's a CDH card. It's Stella Lee. It's being ran. It's a very good card deck. It's what it's doing. And the win con is stuff like this, where tap target creature becomes blue, or target creature becomes blue until end of turn. Untap that creature, draw a card. So if you can copy it, you untap it, and you can infinitely go. So it's a 1-card combo with card advantage in it, because again, if you notice, like this deck is filled with like cheap little cards that just allow you to interact or like do other things, or like just a lot of interaction, so you can cast 2 spells. And even if you just cast 2 spells on your turn, you're gonna be able to go exile, get a card advantage. So good card advantage, like accidental card advantage is pretty good. Oh, I countered your spell. Oh, I countered another spell. Ooh, let's see what I get. So very good card, and as a casual deck, I like it too. It's a spell sling deck, so like you fill your deck with fun spell slinging cards. You run Magecraft, you run a lot of whatever you cast into sorcery spell, and you just like haha, pew 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 pew, copy, pew 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 pew. It's fun. I think it's fun no matter what. And then you've got Yuma, Proud Protector. 5 red, green, white. The worst one of the bunch, but still fun. 6/6 human ranger. This spell costs 1 less to cast for each land card in your graveyard. So it can just cost Naya. Not bad. When Yuma, Proud Protector, enters the battlefield or attacks, you may sacrifice a land. If you do, draw a card. Okay, cool. So I'm sacrificing a land, I'm drawing a card. Good card advantage. As long as I can play my lands from my graveyard, I don't care. Whenever a desert card is put into your graveyard from anywhere, create a 4/2 green plant warrior creature token with reach. Cool. So now the plant, as long as I sacrifice a desert, I get a 4/2 with reach. And then you just notice, oh, if I just keep sacking my lands, I keep getting 4/2s as long as they're deserts. And it becomes pretty fun. It's just a nice Naya mid-range deck where he's probably going to come out for Naya. You're going to slowly get card advantage by sacking lands, and you're going to play cards that allow you to play them from your graveyard. Landfall triggers off all that stuff. Land die triggers. And then you're going to get these 4/2s, and the 4/2s are going to get in, and you got the double tokens in this deck, so you can make those 4/2s, you can make more of them. It does everything. Just slow, mid-range win, and I like it. I really like it. It's not competitive in any way. It's too expensive, but it's a fun deck. I like all of them. I think they're all interesting. Now, the subsequent commanders for them. Eris Roar of Storm is 8 generic, a blue and a red for a 4/4 elemental warlock. This spell costs 2 less to cast for each different mana value among instant sorcerers in your graveyard. So if you have like a 1, a 2, a 3, and a 4, this just costs red and a green, a blue and a red. So as long as you have like a 1, 2, 3, 4, great. Flying and Prowess, I love that. And whenever you cast your second spell each turn, create a 4/4 red dragon elemental creature token with Flying and Prowess. So this card's fun because in my mind, the way you want to run this, you get Eris out for 2. You pass. Or for 2. And then you cast the second one, you get a 4/4 red dragon. Next turn, you cast 2 spells. And I'm just saying, just cast 2 on your turn. Just 2. Prowess triggers on both of them, making it a 5/5 or 6/6. Your Urus is a 6/6 and your dragon's a 6/6. And then you make another dragon. And then you just hit with them. And the next turn, you do just 2. You're just wanting to play 2 on each of your turns. And then on your opponent's turns, hold up interaction, counter spells, protect your Urus and your dragons. Okay? Oh, I happen to cast 2 spells on your turn? Cool. Make another 4/4. Oh, I cast 2 spells on your turn? Cool. Make another 4/4. You know, counter spells to hold up on their turn, nothing? Cool. You want to make sure you always have that, but if you counter something, play another spell. Get that 4/4, have a lot of ramp, and you're going to see a lot of dragons, and on your turn 2, make them all bigger. It's really fun in that regard. I enjoy it. I think it's fun. And it's seeing play in Dual Commander as a commander itself, and Legacy. This card made it to Legacy because you can play this card. Yeah, literally, Legacy has made a guide passage in Canadian Urus. Canadian Urus? Yeah. Because you can get this guy out for free. Or for 2. Because of all the different... there's a 5, a 3, that's a 5. So 5, 3, 1, 5, 3, 1, 2. 5, 3, 1, 2. 5, 3, 1, 2, a 6. Yeah. So lots of different stuff. And Urus just goes like, hey, look at me. I'm just gonna make you dragons. Cool. It's also seeing play in Dual Commander as one of the new Dual Commanders. And I love that. Because it can come down for 2. It's a 4/4, but with prowess. So it hits the field. And then you cast another spell and you get another 4/4. So you have 8 damage out there. Okay, so with 8 damage, you need to deal, because it's 20 life in 1v1, right? So, is that right? Let me double check. Yeah, it's 20 life. So at 20 life, that is 2 4/4. So that's 8 damage. So 1 spell makes it 10 damage. If you lightning bolt them, that's 13 damage. But if you cast this spell, I mean, like, what do you need? 20 life, 10. So you, at 2 4s, you need, 2 4s. You need them to be at 10. So that's how many spells at 10? So that's 6 spells. So yeah, if you can cast 6 spells, you can just go 6 spells, 2 10s at you. And if any of them burn, right, even better. Like, yeah, if you cast like 3 burn spells, like 3 different 3 damage burn spells, and all of a sudden you've dealt 9 damage already, well, now you're only looking at 11, so then you win. Yeah, so very quick way to end people. I like it. It's cool that it's actually seeing play in Vintage, unlike everything else. Felix 5 boots is 2, a black, a green, and a white, a black, a green, and a blue for a 5/4 Ooze Rogue. Menace, Ward 2. If a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, dealing combat damage to a player, causes an ability of a permanent you control to trigger, that ability triggers an additional time. There are 2 major ways to build this deck. Way 1 is cool creatures that have cool trigger effects. And the second way is swords. You see all those hands? Yeah, put a sword in it. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hands. Wield all those hands. Wield all of them, trigger all the swords, beat the crap out of your opponent. It's not seeing play anywhere, but as a casual commander, this card does a lot, guys. It's probably one of the best swords commanders out there because it doubles those triggers. You give it double strike and it'll trigger all the effects 4 times, and you're already off to the races and you won. Like, Sword of Fire and Ice. Deal 2 damage to any target. Or the sword that deals damage equal to their cards in hand. If they've got 5 cards in hand, I hit you, lose 10, and I hit you again, lose 20. And also, I'm a 7/7, so lose 14, so lose 34 life. Oh look, you're dead. Plus, it has Menace, so it's hard to block, and it's got Ward 2, so this card is great. You will see it everywhere. It's one of the most well-played commanders. Like, if you go to EDH Rec, this has got 1,600 decks around it, okay? This command, like, yeah, if you go here and you go to EDH Rec, this guy's only got 900, okay? Now, they're not touching Gonti. Oh, sorry. Gonti for EDH Rec is at 2,518. It's the most popular, so. Well, maybe. I think you might have papped it. Right? Yeah. Stella passed it. Because Stella is CEDH and very, very strong. Here is the worst one out of the bunch. I wanted it to be good because I love the little baby cactus. Kiri, Talented Sprout, is 1, a red, a green, and a white for a 0/3 plant druid. Other plants and tree folks you control get +2/+0. At the beginning of your post-combat main phase, return target plant, tree folk, or land card from your graveyard to your hand. There's not enough good tree folk and plants to run. Tree folks have black sometimes, so you can't run those. There's so few plant creatures out there, guys, like very few. Maybe in the future, if we get like a lot more plants, this will do something. But like, you want to go wide with plants, and there's not actually a lot of creatures that make plant tokens or tree folk tokens, and you want to mill yourself so you can then return the stuff, so you have card advantage within that ring. Oh, I can put this plant or this tree folk. But it just turns into a landfall deck where you just return the lands to your hand and recast a bunch of them. But you're only returning one land, so I just, like, it's not going to see play anywhere. But just to explain it a little bit, like, the cards people are running are like, yeah, these cards are 2 of the best cards, but we need more of them. More of these, like, cards. There's just not enough of them to make them matter. That's the problem. Not enough. Vihan Goldwaker is red, white, black for a 3/3 dwarf warlock. Other outlaws you control have vigilance and haste. Absolutely fantastic. If you're running an outlaw deck, or like you're running pirates and you have Mardu, or mercenaries Mardu, or warlock, or rogues, or whatever, tribal, this card goes in there. So you're going to see this card a lot with Assassin's Creed coming out, because this just goes into the Assassin's deck to give them vigilance and haste. And at the beginning of combat on your turn, you may have treasures you control become 3/3 construct assassin artifact creatures in addition to their other types until end of turn. So yeah, you see these things, yeah, you don't hear. Just play treasures. This entire deck is run as much treasures as you can, turn all your treasures into 3/3s, and give them vigilance and haste. Because then you can swing and sack them still. So like, yeah, nowhere. It's just a commander card. It's a very good commander card. He's a fancy dwarf, okay? It's gross. It's probably the best treasure deck we have because it does something with your treasures. It makes them 3/3s with vigilance and haste, and you swing in for game. New cards. Not a lot of new cards, but still decent. So we'll go over them. Okay, Angel of Intimity, of Indemnity. 5 and a white for a 5/5 Angel Warrior with flying and lifelink. When it enters the battlefield, return target permanent card with mana value 4 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. Encore 6 and 2 white. So this card, perfectly fine. I think it's expensive, but 4/6, getting a 5/5 with flying and lifelink is not bad. It coming in with another permanent with 4 or less from your graveyard is great. And then even if it dies for 7, which is only 1 more, so your next turn you can do this. Sorry, 8. 2 turns later you can do this. You encore, which means you make you make a copy for each opponent you control, so like 3 opponents, but usually. And then with those 3 opponents, you get 3/4/4. So it's a good recursion spell. I really like it, like, casually. Dual commanders running it, but it's just here as a commander card. That's what it's used for, and I think it's great because in a self-mill deck, it has encore, and that's really good. If you're running a self-mill deck, Angel of Indemnity can be encore for 8 to return 4 cards, which is really strong. Stop it, Kitty Cat. I love you. My cat's just needy right now. Angelic Sellsword. 4 and a white for a 4/4 Angel Mercenary, flying, vigilance. Whenever Angelic Sellsword or another non-token creature enters the battlefield that you control, create a mercenary. Whenever Angelic Cell Sword attacks, if its power is 6 or greater, draw a card. So the point of this is that it comes in, you make a mercenary, you play another creature, you make a mercenary. Now you can make it a 6/6 by tapping your mercenaries and draw a card. Not bad, not great. The fact that it is an easy way to make the mercenaries is pretty good, though. Token decks love this card, because you can just double up the tokens and make the mercenaries. Sand Scout's 1 and a white for a 2/2 human scout, and when it enters the battlefield, if an opponent controls more lands than you, search your library for a desert card and put it in the battlefield, tap, then shuffle. Whenever one or more land cards are put into your graveyard from anywhere, create a 1/1 red, green, and white Sand Warrior creature token. This ability triggers only once each turn. The Sand Warriors are the same thing that the other Sand Commander makes. I forget his name, but yeah, I love the art here. They're super cool for the new art. But the idea here is pretty simple and white. Like, yeah, you need to run some desert cards, but if you can just shove a desert card or two in your white deck, you can play this card and just go, oh, let me grab this desert card for my deck and put it on the battlefield tapped. Cool. Good ramp for 2. And then on top of that, being able to make the white ones. If you're playing a land sec deck, this card goes in there. And then We Ride at Dawn is 2 and a white for an enchantment. Legendary creature spells you cast have Convoke. Legendary deck, put this in there. Or, if you got an expensive commander, this is great to put in there to get it out faster. Whenever a commander attacks, create a 1/1 red mercenary. Cool. So your commander can make mercenaries, which is really cool. Again, in a token deck, that's exactly where I'd want to put this. Blue. For blue, we got Arcane Heist. 2 and 2 blue for a sorcery. When you cast, you may cast target instant or sorcery card from an opponent's graveyard without paying its mana cost. If that spell would be put into the graveyard, exile instead, and then Cipher. And I love that. Okay, I don't think this is going to see play anywhere, but that Cipher's great. This card is fantastic if you put it on any commander that has flying. Trigger it every time it deals damage. So you deal damage and you just, hey, I'm going to cast that instant sorcery from your graveyard. Hey, I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that. Really good. Actually fantastic. I might actually find a space for this in some decks that just want to cast some decent instant sorcerers from my opponents. Probably a Fiend deck would love this card. I'm going to bookmark this deck so I remember. Cool. Next, Forger's Foundry. 2 and a blue for an artifact. Tap, add a blue. When you spend this mana to cast an instant sorcery spell with mana value 3 or less, you may exile that spell instead of putting it into its owner's graveyard as it resolves. 3 and 2 blue, tap. You may cast any number of spells from among cards exiled with Forger's Foundry without paying their mana cost. Activate only as a sorcery. This is great. Okay. This is great because you can just keep going cast. And just keep exiling them over the turns. And then all of a sudden just go 5. I'm gonna cast all 10 of them and trigger all my instants and sort all my whenever you cast an sorcery, because you are casting them for free. So this card does a lot. If you're playing the cards that, like, whenever you cast a card from anywhere other than your hand or from exile, this card does that. It's slow and methodical, but that's great for commander. Lock and Load is 2 and a green, or 2 and a blue for a sorcery. Draw a card, then draw a card for each other instant sorcery spell you cast this turn. Plot. Again, absolutely fantastic. For me, I think the point here is, like, just plot this, and then when you want to go off, okay, number one, this is just great in a plot deck itself. Plot a bunch of cards, cast all the plot cards, and then cast this. But in any spell slinging deck, this card's just great. Plot it early, and then just go for the free spell and just draw a bunch of cards. Smirking Spelljacker is 4 and a blue for a 3/3 Djinn Wizard or Djinn Wizard Rogue with flash and flying. And when it enters the battlefield, exile target spell and opponent controls. When it attacks, if a card is exiled with it, you may cast the extra card without paying its mana cost. Looks like dual commanders running it. That's cool. Yeah, I enjoy it. I think it's fine. It's like a nice interactive spell that allows you to get a 3/3 flyer. So, not bad. I think 5 is a little expensive, but Thunderclap Drake is 1 and a blue for a 2/1 Drake with flying. Instant sorcery spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. 2 and a blue, sacrifice it. When you cast your next instant sorcery spell, copy it for each time you've cast your commander from the command zone. No format. It's just a good commander card. That's about it. 2 to make anything that makes your instant sorcery cost less is good. But then being able to sack it to copy your next instant sorcery means you can go infinite with it. So that's not bad. I like it. It's also a 2-1 with flying, so you can trigger a lot of stuff in blue. Black. In black, we got Back in Town. X2 and a black for a sorcery. Return X target outlaw cards from your graveyard to the battlefield. Just put this in your outlet deck. It's great. Great recursion. You can just pay 3-4 to get your goblin back. Charred Grave Robber is 2 and a black for a 3-1 skeleton mercenary. When it enters the battlefield, return target outlaw from your card from your graveyard to your hand. Escape 3 and 2 black. Exile 4 other cards from your graveyard. When it escapes with a 1-1 counter on it. So yeah, you can escape it, and then you still return an outlaw card from your graveyard to your hand. So this is great recursion, again, for an outlaw deck. It itself is a mercenary, so you can just toss it, honestly, in any outlaw deck. Even if like it's not a pirate, this could still go in your pirate deck. Discreet Retreat is 3 and a black for an enchantment aura, enchant land. Enchant land has tap, add 2 mana of any one color. Spend this mana only to cast outlaw spells or activate the abilities of outlaw sorcerers. When you cast your first outlaw spell each turn, you draw a card and lose life. Okay, so this is, again, just put in your outlaw deck. I'd still run this in, like, a pirate deck or assassin's deck because it's good card ramp for them and a good card draw. Heartless Conscription is 6 and 2 black for a sorcery. Exile all creatures. For each card exiled this way, you may play that card for as long as it remains exiled, and mana of any type can be spent to cast that spell. Exile Heartless Conscription. Okay, this is cool because this works with Gonti, because the Gonti exiles them all, or makes the spells cost less. But exiling each creature, yeah, that's interesting. It's a good board wipe that then gives you the ability to reuse them. Orochi, Soul Reaver is 5 and a black for 5/4 Snake Ninja Rogue. With Ninjutsu, 3 and a black. Whenever one or more creatures you control deal combat damage to the player, create a treasure token and manifest the top card of that player's library. That's great. Yeah, put this in your ninja decks. And then any deck where your creatures want to deal damage to a player, one or more creatures you control deal combat damage to a player. Create a treasure token. So this gives you treasures. It also makes manifest cards. So that's really good. Thieving Vermin is 1 and a black for a 2-1 Vermin. With Death Touch and Lifelink, tap, pay 1 life, add 2 mana of any one color. Spend this mana only to cast spells you don't own. In any deck where you're casting spells your opponents controls, put it in there. Cataclysmic Prospective is Prospecting is X and 2 red for a sorcery. Cataclysmic Prospecting deals X damage to each creature. For each mana from a desert spent to cast a spell, create a tap treasure token. So put this in your treasure decks. What do you need, Kibby Cap? Okay. Cackling Spellslinger is 3 and 2 red for a 2/2 human wizard. Flash. It enters the battlefield. If you cast it, the next instant sorcery spell you cast this turn has Storm. That's insane. I don't think you're going to see it in any format. Oh, Golos, yeah. But I like that. Yeah, I mean, it's a lot, so you need a lot of mana to make this work. But, like, there's some good instant sorcerers I'd like to have. It's Storms. There's a lot you could probably figure out with that. Dead Before Sunrise is 3 and a red for an instant. Until end of turn, outlaw creatures you control get +1/+0 and gain. Tap, this creature deals damage equal to its power to target creature. Great removal spell. Just give them all the ability to go tap, pew, 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 and pop everything. So that's good. Or just swing in and kill. If you give them Vigilance, it's even better, because then you can attack with them and then tap them in response to pop all the creatures that they'd be blocked by. Elemental Eruptions 4 and 2 red for a sorcery. Create a 4/4 red dragon elemental creature token with flying and prowess. Storm. Legacy. TES. TES. Yeah. One of. So TES, I actually don't know what it stands for. But this is running like the Dark Ritual, the Cabal Ritual, just to get a lot of mana and just kind of cast. Burning Wish, choose a sorcery from outside the game, reveal it, put it into your hand, which is over here. So you're gonna grab like your lightning bolts and you're like just cast a lot of instants and sorceries, like everything, right? And then cast this storm or that storm and just win the game. Like, very good, very good. I like that it's made it to TES, or like Ruby Storm, which runs the Ruby Medallion. Spells cost 1 less. Cool, your elemental thing costs, like, if set up right, even less. And then you just cast a lot of spells and just go, boom, win. So, Legacy's running it. I love to see that. And in Commander, yeah, like, this is a great Storm finisher. And they all have prowess, so. Embrace the Unknowns, 2 in a red. For a sorcery, exile the top 2 cards of your library. Until the end of your next turn, you may play those cards. Retrace. So you may cast this card from your graveyard by discarding a land card in addition to other costs. This is a card I actually want to put in one of my other decks because I really like the retrace cards. It gives you something to do at all times if you draw into a land, and that happens. So I'm gonna put this card again up here just to remind myself I'm looking for it. I'm gonna eventually put those in my phone so I can remember to ask people. Pyretic Charge is 4 in a red. For a sorcery, discard your hand, then draw 4 cards. For each card discarded this way, creatures get +1/+0 till the turn. Plot. No push, but this is another great sorcery finisher. I know a lot of people don't like sorcery finishers anymore because it counter stops it. But like, if you discard 5 cards, then draw 4 cards, each card discarded this way, creatures get. So you do this, and all of a sudden your creatures are getting +5/+0. And if you do it for plot, you can then do more things. But giving all your creatures like +5, that's enough to win the game. Smoldering Stagecoach is 3 in a red for a star 5 vehicle. Smoldering Stagecoach's power is equal to the number of instant sorceries in graveyard. When it attacks, the next instant spell and the next sorcery spell you cast this turn each have Cascade. Great. If you're running a spell slinging deck, just put this in there. This will be a huge creature, and then being able to give Cascade to the next instant and the next sorcery is great. Dune Chanters, 2 in a red for 2 in a green for 2/3 plant druid. Reach. Lands you control and land cards you own that aren't on the battlefield are deserts in addition to other types. Put it in a desert deck. Lands you control have tap, add 1 mana of any color. Put it in any deck. Tap, mill 2 cards. You gain 1 life for each land card you milled this way. Okay, so if you're running like a self-mill deck, this is great. If you're running any deck to just any high like seam or high color deck, like 3 or more, this is great to change the colors. And then turning everything deserts is fun for desert stuff. Rumbleweed, 10 and a green for an 8/8 plant elemental. This spell costs 1 less to cast for each land card in your graveyard. Vigilance, Reach, Trample. When Rumbleweed enters the battlefield, other creatures you control get +3/+3 and trample to the turn. It's a 1 ecostem army. Yeah, you put this on the field as an 8/8 and give all your stuff trample and stuff. It's pretty cool, and it's just a nice big card, but like you can make it a green to cast, which is kind of cool. Savvy Trader is 3 and a green for a 3/3 human citizen, and when it enters the battlefield, exile target permanent card from your graveyard. You may play that card as long as it remains exiled. Spells you cast from anywhere other than your hand cost 1 less. Yeah, just put this in all those not casting from your hand decks. And you get 1 extra card advantage from your graveyard. Tower Winding. Tower Winder. For 1 and a green for a 1/1 snake with reach and death touch. When it enters the battlefield, search your library and or graveyard for a card named Command Tower. Reveal it and put it into your hand. Then if you search your library, shuffle. Just go grab Command Tower. What really, literally, it's just grab a Command Tower. Yeah, dual commander. This will see play in any green deck. Literally, grab Command Tower. Put it in your hand. Cool, I'm fixing my mono right away. Yeah, put it in any green deck. Literally any green deck that's not mono green. Vengeful Regrowth is 4 and 2 green. For a sorcery, return up to 3 target land cards from your graveyard to the battlefield. Tapped. Create that many 4/2 plant warrior creature tokens with your each. Flashback. So getting this twice is cool. Getting 3 land cards back to your battlefield is pretty cool. With Flashback, I might want this card in my Muldrotha deck. Just as because I self-mill so much in that deck, it's a great way to try to get card advantage. Just a few more cards here. The only multicolored spell is Greywater's Fixer. 2 black and red for a 4/4 lizard mercenary. Each outlaw creature card in your graveyard has Encore X for X its mana value. That's great. Again, any outlaw deck or outlaw-esque deck, just toss it in there. Bounty Board is 3 for an artifact. Tap, add 1 mana of any color. Pay 1, tap, put a bounty counter on target creature. Activate only as sorcery. When a creature with a bounty counter on it dies, each of its controller's opponents draws a card and gains 2 life. That's great. This is fantastic. It's another one of those great, like, oh yeah, it's a 3-drop that fixes your mana. But then for 1, you can do something. Put a bounty counter. Oh, that's kill it. And then we each draw a card and gain a life, except the one who controls it. Dream Thief's Bandana is 2 for an artifact equipment. Whenever a equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, look at the top card of their library. Then exile it face down. For as long as it remains exiled, you may play it, and mana of any type can be spent to cast it. So this is just Gonti but on equipment, and it's kind of cool if you're okay stealing stuff from your opponent. Leyline Dowser is 2 for an artifact. Pay 1, tap it, mill a card. You may put an instant sorcery card and mill this way into your hand. Tap an untap legendary creature control. Untap Leyline Dowser. This is another really good card. If you're playing Graveyard Mill, your commander can help you replay this, and you can just keep going for like card advantage. Is it actually seeing play anywhere? Oh, Legacy. Legacy's running it at 2. What are you? Got any legendary creatures that you're dealing with in the deck? No. That doesn't matter because it's just a mill card that allows you to add an instant sorcery card back to your hand. So like Delver loves this. Yeah, Grixis Delver is literally just running this card because it's that. Mill a card, you may put an instant sorcery milled this way into your hand. So if you happen to mill Daze or Force or you put it in your hand. And at the beginning of your upkeep, look at the top card of your library. You reveal the card. If it's an instant sorcery card, this way transform it. So, yeah, that's actually really good. Canadian Druids even run. Yeah, this is just, yeah. It's just a good mill card, I guess. That allows you to get your card back. So, not bad. Not bad at all. And lastly, Cactus Preserve. Land, Desert, Cactus Preserve, into the battle of tap. Tap, add 1 mana of any type that a land you control can produce. Pay 3. Till the turn it becomes an XX plant creature token, where X is the greatest mana among commanders. It's still a land. Okay, those are the extended arts that you can pull from, I think, collectors, and then reprints, which I am not going over reprints because that's not the point. That's not what I'm going after. So, yeah, when it comes to the new cards, there's a lot of good stuff here. Personally, with the flavor and stuff I like to do, Forgery's Founder and Arcane, I mean, you've seen, it's Arcane, Embrace, and Vengeful Regrowth are cool. I really like them. I think it's interesting. Overall, I think these commanders are fun, okay? I think Gonti's great, and if you really just don't want to run the steel stuff, you just switch over to Flex. Olivia's fantastic, and if you want to play more of a treasure build, you got my less favorite build. Stella is really broken, so if you want to play less broken, Urza's is good. And Yuma's great. Don't play Carry. He's bad. So, or it's bad. That's Carry. Just play this for it. It has Carry on it anyway. So, really like the commanders. Really like the new cards. Let me know what your guys' favorite commander from this pile of 8 is. And what's your favorite new non-commander card from the sets? Let me know down in the doobly-doo. Otherwise, have a nice day. Peace.